Hello, guys. Welcome back to another video in our channel. Welcome back as we want to talk about Chelsea versus Newcastle, or Newcastle to Chelsea nil. Quite an interesting game when I look to talk about it. And why is it so interesting? Because the game was not Chelsea did not have anything to answer in that game, and the situation was just made worse with Jackson getting a red card. However, it was a game of two halves. I know Chelsea lost both halves, but even when you look at the second goal, it was mere fluke goal. But towards the end, you thought probably Chelsea can get one and get a draw, but Chelsea ended up losing that game. But what do I have to talk about this game? One thing I need to talk about this game is that we are very lucky that Leicester City managed to hold up Nottingham Forest to a 2-2 draw. We saw the drama that happened between Nottingham Forest's owner and Nuno Espirito Santo. There seems to be some clash between the ownership and the manager. So that turmoil in Nottingham Forest is what is playing into the hands of Chelsea. Otherwise, if I just make a bold statement, is that Chelsea will only play in the Champions League whether Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest drop points. Not that Chelsea are going to play in the Champions League because Chelsea are going to win games to get them there. No. The games that you were supposed to win were Brentford and Ipswich. You win Brentford, you win Ipswich, you have 4 extra points. Now you have 67 points. You are at par. You are a point behind Arsenal, and you only need one win to secure top 4 or a draw. But we didn't win the games that we were supposed to win, and here we are. At the moment, we are surviving at 5th place. Same number of points as Aston Villa. We have Manchester United at home. Aston Villa have Tottenham at home. So both of those teams are very poor. But again, if there is a team that I'm not so sure about, is Manchester United, because they have been losing a lot of games in the Premier League. But again, can you trust this Chelsea team to beat Manchester United at home? Look at our record against Manchester United at home. Just look at it. Look at our record against Manchester United. Even when they are so poor, we cannot get a win over them. The last season, we got a 4-3 win over them. Do I really think that we have what it takes to get a win? We do. But again, we have put ourselves in a bad situation. And now our fate solely lies with Aston Villa. We have to pray that Aston Villa drop points against Spurs, and we have to win our game against Manchester United, because if we win our game against Manchester United and then Villa drop points against Spurs, then even if we drop points at Nottingham Forest, we'll be okay because we have a better goal difference than Aston Villa. Now, when you look at it, damn. Look at that Newcastle game. Newcastle, I could not even understand how the first goal came to be. The ball, Chalobah had the ball. Chalobah passed the ball to Lavia. Lavia lost possession. Newcastle made a beautiful cross. Chalobah played them onside. We lost. We conceded the first goal. You know, when you are under pressure in the initial minutes of a game, you have the ball. The first thing you're supposed to do is looking to clear that ball. Clear that ball as far as possible. Then once you clear that ball as far as possible, now you can reorganize yourself. But just passing the ball when you're seeing your player is surrounded and he cannot scan his, some mistakes that we make. And I'm saying this personally. In this team, there are 3 positions that I have an issue with. The first position that I have an issue with is the striker, and I'm going to go heavy on that position. The second position that I have an issue with is the center backs, and that's why when I say that Chelsea are going for a left-sided center back, a lot of fans were like, why are we going for a center back? What's the point of going for a center back? I cannot rely on Chalobah and Colwill to take Chelsea to win trophies. We cannot win trophies with Chalobah and Colwill. We used to have center backs like Rudiger, David Luiz, Thiago Silva, John Terry, Cahill, Cesar Spilicueta. We had established center backs. So how do you tell me that Chalobah and Colwill have what it takes to give Chelsea anything? No, They can even win their aerial duels. We have centre backs who are not strong in the air. We have centre backs who are weak. Even when you see Chaloba was trying to drag Isak, Isak would hold him off and play the ball to the midfielder. And that is how even Manchester City, Chaloba could not stand up against Haaland. That's why you need strong centre backs. Now, can you compare Chelsea's centre back partnerships with Liverpool? Konate, Virgil van Dijk, strong, physical, tall. We don't have that. Even if Thiago Silva was not tall, but he was able to read the game. You don't have a centre back like Thiago Silva. That's why whenever I had Chelsea actually going for a 27-year-old centre back, I was like, we need that fine-wood centre back. I cannot rely on Colwill. It is very clear that Maresca does not prefer Tosin and Rabiot because of what? Because Tosin is because he thinks Tosin is slower, so he cannot play a high line with Tosin. That's what it boils to. But again, you are away at Newcastle. You see Dan Burn, you see Shah. They are very tall players. Whenever you're playing against these aerially dominant sides, you need to have at least one centre back. Because probably if you have Tosin, he's better on the ball than Chaloba. He's also better aerially than Chaloba. You see? So you have Tosin, he probably clears that ball. And Tonali does not score it. But if, buts, and maybes, you really get annoyed sometimes with Enzo Maresca. But it is what it is. Now, you proceed with the game. Chelsea found it very difficult to control the game, very difficult to keep the ball in midfield. So we started to see Sanchez going long. And whenever we went long, there's also one thing you need to understand when you're playing football. If you are a team that is quite short, you do not try to go for aerial duels. No. You try to go for the second balls. Now, if you're going long to Jackson, and Jackson is not an aerially dominant centre forward. That is one thing we need to know. Because let me just ask a simple question. When was the last time you saw Jackson scoring a headed goal? When was the last time any fan saw Jackson scoring a headed goal? That's not a striker who scores a headed goal. Even if you whip in crosses inside the box, Jackson offers close to nothing aerially. So even if you're going long aerially, he's not going to win those balls against those centre backs. But again, that's where your instinct as a centre forward comes in. You don't try to go. You make them head the ball down. Once they head the ball down, the midfield should be aggressive in winning the second balls. Pep Guardiola, when he came to Manchester City, emphasized the need of winning the second balls. He said, when you're in the Premier League, you need to win the first balls. If you cannot win the first balls, you need to be very quick in winning the second balls. So if we cannot win against Newcastle's physical centre backs, then what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to win those balls that are down there, the second balls. So if a centre backs wins the header, you win the second ball. You immediately apply pressure, win the second ball, and then you proceed. So what was happening with Jackson when the ball was being played, instead of looking towards the ball, he elbows the centre back. But again, Mane did that to Aspilicueta. He never got a red card. This is another problem with PGMOL. You're not consistent with your refereeing. In some instances, you're giving a red card. When it has happened to us a couple of times, Maguire did that to Batshuayi. We saw Mane doing the same thing to Cesar Aspilicueta, and it was not given as a red card. Jackson did it. It was given as a red card. In my opinion, that was a red card. Like, how silly can you be? I was so shocked with Jackson. And since he came back from injury, he has been playing with this ego. He's playing with an ego. You may think that he's Erling Haaland. Jackson, you're not Haaland. You are not Erling Haaland. You are not Aguero. You're not Drogba. You're not scoring 20 goals in a season. You are not. don't understand this ego. The last game, he was subbed out in the 60th minute in Liverpool's game. And he was rightfully subbed because he wasn't doing anything. We created a lot of opportunities in that game. We should have even been going in the first half 3-0 up. Jackson did not take his chances well. Then when he's subbed, he's having this attitude. And why is Jackson having this attitude? Because of the board. Jackson is having this attitude because of the board, because you did not sign competition for Jackson. You cannot see Cucurella having that attitude. You will not see Caicedo having that attitude. You do not see even Palmer having that attitude, even Madueke having that attitude, because you have signed competition. You have competition there. Jackson, you see, if Palmer has that attitude, then you can say Palmer is justified because Palmer is a player who gives output in every game. But what about Nicholas Jackson? He's missing chances. And then when you're subbed off, you have a lot of attitude. When you're playing, you have a lot of attitude. You're busy picking needless yellow cards. Do you know Jackson has more yellow cards than goals he has scored this season? Jackson has more yellow cards than goals he has scored this season. If he was so consistent with the goals he's scoring as he's consistent with the yellow cards and the cards that he's picking, maybe we would have said something about him. But he doesn't do that. Now we are going into the last two games of the season without a striker. Now we have to heavily rely upon Tyreek George, who's a young player who's not a striker, to play in that position. Nkunku is not there. We know very well that he's leaving. We now have to look whether we're going to play Neto. Sancho cannot play against Manchester United. Then we have to rely on Tyreek George. You see, look at the kind of mess that Jackson has put the team. If we didn't get that red card in the second half, we probably score. We probably get a draw or something in this game. Now we had the ball, we had the chances. We didn't have a number 9. We were less in the attacking areas and we could not commit more players because we would have conceded. Even when we decided to throw everything to the ground and decided to go for that goal, we still could not do it because we do not have enough players in attack. This is really bad. It's terribly bad. I'm so disappointed with the attitude that Nicholas Jackson scored. He costed the team 3 points. He might have been the player who has costed Chelsea the Champions League, but as I have told you, it's still in our hands. We are still 5th place. Our goal difference that we made in the first half of the season is saving us at the moment. But again, for us to get Champions League, it all depends with Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest. Chelsea now have to go and beat Manchester United. Do I think they're going to beat them? I really don't know. Everybody's beating Manchester United, but we have always seen this. Everybody can beat a team, and then that team plays Chelsea, then they win. You see, you just have to go and beat them. You have to go and beat Manchester United. Am I confident they're going to do it? I don't know. You have to beat Manchester United. Then when you beat Manchester United, and if Nottingham Forest lose their next game or they fail to win their next game, then wow, you have edged out Nottingham Forest, because Nottingham Forest currently have 62 points. You win your next game, you have 66 points. You are ahead of them with 4 points. If they lose the next game, then automatically you have edged out Nottingham Forest. But what about Aston Villa? You also have to hope that Aston Villa lose to Tottenham, because if they lose to Tottenham now, you have qualified for the Champions League, because you have a better goal difference. You have over 20. You have over 10 goals over Aston Villa. So you have to play and hope you beat Manchester United. Then you hope the other 2 teams lose, because if the other 2 teams lose in this game week, then we qualify for the Champions League. We have to pray that Aston Villa loses. We have to pray that Nottingham Forest loses. We have to beat Manchester United, because once we beat Manchester United, we are 3 points ahead of Villa. We are 4 points ahead of Nottingham Forest. Now, even if Nottingham Forest beats us in the last game of the season, we still a point ahead of them. If Aston Villa, if we lose to Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa wins the last game of the season, we still have a better goal difference than them. So the Manchester United game now is a do or die. If Tottenham and I don't know which team is playing Nottingham Forest, so let me just check here quickly. Nottingham Forest. So Nottingham Forest are playing West Ham away. So we have to hope that West Ham are able to beat Nottingham Forest away. If they beat Nottingham Forest, but again, we have to beat Manchester United. Beating Manchester United and both of the other teams drop points, then we are in the Champions League. So everything is going to boil down on Friday. That competition can be done on Friday. If both Villa and Nottingham Forest lose and Chelsea win against Manchester United, Champions League is guaranteed. If both of them win and Chelsea lose, then we have to go and beat Nottingham, and then we have to hope that Manchester United beat or take points from Aston Villa. What do you think? That is my opinion. I'm going to take my time and do the tactical analysis as usual. See ya.